For nearly 40 years, a woman's body lay hidden beneath a working pig farm, while animals were fed, while neighbors waved, while seasons changed, while Christmas dinners were served just meters above her grave. Her husband said she had run off. He said she walked away from her marriage. He said she left without a goodbye. And for decades, people believed him. But the truth was rotting underground. In 1982, Brenda Venables was in her early 40s, living on a pig farm in rural Worcestershire, England. The farm was quiet, fields stretching into the mist, the scent of feed and damp soil hanging in the air. It was a hard life, but it was the life she had chosen. She had married David Venables years earlier, believing in partnership, in loyalty, in the simple dignity of shared work. Farming was not glamorous, but it was honest, or at least she thought it was. Neighbors described Brenda as kind, but private. She kept to herself. She helped around the farm. She was not dramatic. She was not loud. She was steady. But steadiness can hide loneliness. In the evenings, after the animals were fed and the mud washed from their boots, the house felt colder than the fields. Conversations had grown shorter. David had grown distant. His temper flickered in small flashes, not explosive, but sharp enough to wound. Brenda sensed something shifting. There were late returns, excuses, silence at the dinner table. "Are you seeing someone?" she once asked quietly, her voice measured, almost careful not to offend. David did not answer directly. He dismissed it, changed the subject, walked away. That silence said more than words ever could. The farm had once symbolized stability. Now it felt like isolation. And somewhere in that isolation, betrayal had already begun. Stories like this only survive because people are willing to listen. If this story moves you, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it, comment your thoughts. Because some truths wait decades for a voice, and justice deserves witnesses. Brenda did not know she was standing at the edge of something irreversible. She only knew that her marriage no longer felt safe. And sometimes the most dangerous betrayals are the quiet ones. December 1982. Cold wind cut across the farm, frost clung to the gates, and then Brenda vanished. David told people she had left him. "She walked out," he said casually, "probably ran off." It was delivered without panic, without urgency, without grief. No public search, no emotional appeal, no desperate husband asking for help, just a simple explanation. Neighbors felt uneasy, but small communities often avoid confrontation. People mind their business. Marriages are private matters. But something didn't sit right. Brenda had left behind her belongings, personal items, stability. There were no packed bags, no farewell notes. Family members questioned the story. Why would she disappear without contacting anyone? Why would she abandon everything? David remained composed. Behind that composure was motive. He had begun an affair. He wanted freedom. Divorce would have been costly, emotionally, financially, reputationally. In small rural communities, scandal lingers. Murder, he believed, could be hidden. One winter night, Brenda's life ended inside that farmhouse. The details were brutal. She suffered fatal head injuries. The house returned to silence. And then the unthinkable. Her body was hidden inside the farm's septic tank. The place meant to contain waste. It would contain a secret instead. By morning, the story was already constructed. She's gone. But she had not left. She had been erased. The septic tank sat on the property like any other part of farm infrastructure, functional, unremarkable. But beneath its lid lay a truth too horrific to imagine. David resumed life. He continued farming. He continued his affair. The seasons changed, the pigs were fed, machinery hummed, crops grew, and beneath it all, silence. Neighbors stopped asking questions. Time dulls suspicion. In rural communities, confrontation feels invasive. Brenda's family carried quiet pain, no closure, no answers. Maybe she needed space, some suggested. But mothers do not disappear without goodbye. Sisters do not vanish without a word. Decades passed. The septic tank remained sealed. David aged, wrinkles formed, his hair thinned. He became an old man with a long history on the farm. But time does not absolve. Secrets do not decay cleanly. They ferment, and eventually, they surface. The 1990s arrived, then the 2000s. Technology advanced, DNA science improved. Cold cases were reopened across the country. But Brenda's case remained frozen in ambiguity. To some, she was a woman who walked away. To others, she was a ghost. David lived quietly. He never publicly searched, never publicly mourned. His affair partner remained in his life. The farm endured as a monument to normalcy. But silence has weight. Brenda's relatives carried unanswered grief for nearly 40 years. Every Christmas, every birthday, every milestone marked by absence. Was she alive somewhere? Did she suffer? Did she choose to leave? The uncertainty was its own form of torture. Meanwhile, the septic tank aged, corroding, weakening. Decay does not discriminate between steel and secrets. And in 2019, decay would force truth into daylight. In 2019, contractors were called to service the aging septic system. It was routine maintenance, nothing dramatic, until bones appeared. Fragments, human. Police were immediately notified. Forensic teams arrived. Excavation followed. Careful recovery. Analysis. The remains were identified as Brenda Venables. After nearly 40 years underground, she was found. David Venables, now 85 years old, was arrested. The image shocked the nation. An elderly farmer accused of murder from 1982. News outlets revisited the disappearance. Headlines resurfaced. The quiet farm became a crime scene once more. During questioning, David denied murder, but forensic evidence contradicted his story. Blunt force trauma, hidden body, false narrative. The past had caught up. For Brenda's family, the discovery was both devastating and relieving. She had not abandoned them. She had been killed. The truth was horrific, but it was truth, and truth breaks chains that silence builds. The trial began in 2022. The courtroom atmosphere was heavy. Reporters filled seats. The case had drawn national attention because of its delayed justice. Family members listened as forensic details were presented. The affair, the motive, the deception. David's defense attempted to cast doubt, but evidence was clear. He had killed his wife to continue his relationship with another woman. Nearly 40 years of lies unraveled in days. Some in the community struggled to reconcile the man they knew with the crime revealed. He was quiet. He kept to himself. He didn't seem violent. But evil does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it wears ordinary clothes. For Brenda's family, hearing the truth publicly confirmed was painful, but necessary. Generational silence ended in that courtroom, and silence, once broken, does not easily return. In 2022, David Venables was convicted of murder. He was sentenced to life imprisonment. An 85-year-old man leaving court in handcuffs. Justice delayed, but delivered. The judge condemned the calculated nature of the crime, the decades of deception, the cruelty of hiding a body in a septic tank. For Brenda's family, the verdict was not celebration. It was an exhale. 40 years of uncertainty had ended. Her name was no longer attached to suspicion or abandonment. She had been wronged, and now acknowledged. Truth has risen from beneath the farm. Brenda Venables did not get a second life, but she got justice. Her story became a warning about betrayal, how selfish desire can destroy families, how silence enables lies, and truth waits patiently. The farm still stands, but it no longer hides a secret. For her family, healing begins not with forgetting, but with knowing. Justice is not about revenge. It is about restoration.